Welcome to Norway, one of the happiest countries in the world, where life looks peaceful, clean, and almost too calm to be real. Today we'll explore a country of cold winters, quiet towns, beautiful nature, and people who even jump into icy water when the temperature can drop to around -20 degrees Celsius. But behind that happy image, Norway also has many unusual habits and surprising traditions that most visitors don't expect. Number 1. The strange reality of Norway. If there is one country that looks on the map like the outer edge of Europe, cold, distant, and somewhat separated from the familiar rhythm of the rest of the world, it is Norway. A Nordic land of around 5.6 million people, with more than 323,000 square kilometers of mountains, islands, glaciers, and twisting coastlines carved into endless fjords. You can drive for miles through deep valleys and frozen landscapes without seeing a single person. And yet this quiet, icy nation remains one of the happiest places on Earth, which already tells you Norway does not work the way most countries do. What makes it even stranger is how quickly life changes from one region to another. Along the coast, the weather is wet and windy. Inland, it turns drier and far colder. And in the far north, night can almost stop existing. In northern Norway, the midnight sun can last for around 76 days from May to July, which means the world outside can still look like afternoon, even at 12 a.m. Maybe that is why Norwegians love saying, "There is no bad weather, only bad clothing," and they actually live by it. In some mountain areas, people have even chilled drinks in streams using nature as a refrigerator. And yes, if Norway makes you think of salmon, that is no accident. You probably think sushi is all Japanese. But when it comes to salmon, Norway quietly changed the game, helping push salmon sushi onto the global stage in the 1980s. Life here is modern in other ways too. The country uses the Norwegian krone, not the euro. Cash is almost gone, and even small roadside purchases are often paid with a quick tap. Norway also has two official written forms, bokmål and nynorsk, although nearly everyone speaks excellent English. So before we go any further, I want to ask you something. Out of the world's 195 countries, where are you watching from, and what language do you speak? Let everyone know in the comments. Number 2. Norway's hidden people. Most people hear Norway and immediately think of Vikings, fjords, and snow. But one of the country's most important stories belongs to the Sami, the indigenous people of the far north. What makes them especially fascinating is that this is not just a culture trapped in museums or tourist postcards. The Sami are still a living part of modern Norway with their own identity, traditions, and languages. In fact, there are 9 distinct but closely related Sami languages across Sápmi. And in Norway, the 3 most actively used are North Sami, Lule Sami, and South Sami. That creates a strange twist of its own. A Sami person in southern northern Norway may understand nearby Sami communities across the border in Sweden, yet not be able to easily speak with Sami people from the far north. And while outsiders often reduce the Sami story to reindeer, the reality is broader than that. Around 2,600 Sami in Norway still make a living from reindeer herding, and much of northern Norway is used for reindeer grazing. Traditionally, herders stayed inland during winter, then moved their animals toward the coast in spring to make the most of seasonal pasture, a rhythm shaped entirely by Arctic nature. But not all Sami herd reindeer. And that is exactly the point. Some do, some fish, some work in offices, and some live fully modern city lives. The culture stretches across a wide area from Finnmark in the far north down toward Trøndelag and the Femund region. And even the sense of time can feel different here, because Sami tradition famously works with 8 seasons instead of the usual 4, shaped by reindeer movement and life in the Arctic. which makes the Sami story far more interesting than the simple version most foreigners imagine. From Norway's hidden people, we move to one of its most unreal frontiers, Svalbard. Number 3. Beyond the edge of Earth. If you think Norway is already extreme, wait until you get to Svalbard. The Arctic archipelago that feels less like Europe and more like the edge of another planet. It is one of the few places on Earth where people from all over the world can settle without a visa, although in reality, most travelers still pass through mainland Norway first, which means you still need your passport. And that is part of what makes Svalbard so strange. In this frozen outpost, you will find miners from Thailand, scientists from Germany, students from France, and people from more than 50 countries, all living together in a place that looks almost uninhabitable. But buried beneath that icy silence is something even more extraordinary. Not oil, not gold, but one of humanity's ultimate backup plans. Hidden deep inside a mountain is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, carved roughly 120 meters into solid rock and kept at -18 degrees Celsius, where more than 38 million seed samples from around the world are stored in sealed boxes as a safeguard for the future of global agriculture. And this is not just symbolic. In 2015, when the Aleppo seed bank in Syria was destroyed during the civil war, Svalbard stepped in with replacement seeds to help restart agriculture across the Middle East. By 2017, those same seeds had already been replanted in Lebanon and Morocco, proving that this frozen vault can quite literally bring life back to the desert. Even the entrance looks surreal, with a glowing structure and a heavy industrial door that feels like it belongs in a post-apocalyptic movie. Life outside the vault is just as unreal. Longyearbyen, the main settlement, has around 2,400 residents, cafes, a school, a hospital, and a supermarket. Yet the Arctic wilderness begins almost right outside town. Polar bears are so serious a risk beyond the settlements that people traveling outside populated areas are expected to carry proper deterrence, and firearms are recommended. That is why you will see polar bears everywhere in Svalbard, on warning signs, posters, and souvenirs, but not casually roaming the streets the way movies love to suggest. And then come the rules that make Svalbard sound almost fictional. In Longyearbyen, dying is quite literally forbidden. Because of the permafrost, terminally ill residents are usually sent to mainland Norway for end-of-life care, and pregnant women are typically flown south before giving birth, because Longyearbyen is not equipped for full maternity care. The island's rhythms are strange in other ways too. From around October to February, the sun never rises, and from late April to late August, it barely sets, circling the horizon in a golden loop. Locals call the midnight sun. Once you live in a place where the sun forgets how to behave, the rest of the world probably does start to feel a little too ordinary. If you enjoy exploring strange places like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. There's a lot more of the world waiting to surprise you. Number 4. Norway's weird food logic. Norwegian cuisine is not for the faint of heart, and some of its most traditional dishes look less like comfort food and more like a test of nerve. One of the most infamous is smalahove, a whole sheep's head served on a plate, sometimes still staring back at you. It is first singed to remove the wool, then cleaned, salted, and either smoked or boiled for hours before being split in half and served. Traditionally, diners are told to start with the eyes and ears before working through the cheeks, jaw, and tongue, turning the meal into something that feels less like dinner and more like a ritual of courage. What began as poor man's survival food has now become a delicacy built on both thrift and tradition. And somehow, that is only the beginning. Rackfisk made from trout or Arctic char, fermented for 3 to 12 months, develops such a powerful smell that even curious first-timers sometimes regret leaning in too close. Yet in many Norwegian homes, it remains a holiday favorite. The fish is cleaned, salted, and left to ferment in its own juices until the flavor turns sharp, tangy, and unforgettable. Then there is lutefisk cod soaked in lye until it turns almost translucent, looking more like something from a science experiment than a family meal. Before serving, it is rinsed, salted again, and carefully steamed or baked, usually with potatoes, peas, and smoked meat to balance its strange, delicate texture. But Norway also has a weirder surprise hiding in plain sight: brunost, the country's famous brown cheese. It looks harmless enough until you taste it and realize it is sweet caramel-like and closer to a dairy candy than what most people expect from cheese. So be honest, after seeing Norway's food culture up close, would you actually be brave enough to try a sheep's head first? Number 5. Norway's strangest places. Now let's step away from the cities and visit a few places in Norway that feel almost unreal. First, near Gudvangen, there's Njardarheimer, a living Viking village. This isn't a quiet museum. It's a full reconstruction where people dress in traditional clothing, cook over open fires, forge metal, and explain daily life from 1,000 years ago. It's immersive in a way that textbooks could never be. From fire and wood, we move to ice. Above the Arctic Circle in Alta stands the Sorisniva Igloo Hotel. Covering about 2,500 square meters, it's built each winter from 250 tons of ice and more than 7,000 cubic meters of snow harvested from Lake Sierravan and the Alta River. When spring arrives, the entire structure melts away, and the following winter, it is reborn with completely new designs. That means no guest ever has the exact same experience twice. Inside temperatures are kept between -4 degrees Celsius and -7 degrees Celsius, 24 to 19 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll need thermal base layers, even though each room includes reindeer hide bedding and heavy-duty Arctic sleeping bags. It's cold, yes, but unforgettable. And then comes the one that truly tests your nerves. In Lysefjord in Rogaland County in southwestern Norway, near the mountain Kjerag, sits Kjeragbolten, a massive ancient boulder wedged between two vertical cliffs. Beneath it is a 984-meter, 3,228-foot drop straight down into the fjord. Realistically, if someone slips from here, the chance of survival is almost zero. Yet thousands of hikers make the long trek each year just to stand on that rock for a photo. It looks terrifying, but it has remained wedged there for thousands of years, almost defiantly stable. If Norway's strangest places show how extreme the land can be, this next tradition shows how bold the people can be. Number 6. Naked in ice. In most countries, when it's -20 degrees Celsius, -4 degrees Fahrenheit, people stay inside with blankets and hot drinks. In Norway, they cut a hole in a frozen lake, take off their clothes, and jump in. Yes, you heard that right. Most of them do it completely naked. To outsiders, it sounds crazy. But here, ice bathing isn't a stunt. It's a ritual. Many Norwegians believe that plunging into freezing water clears the mind, strengthens the body, and resets your spirit. The tradition traces back to Viking times, when warriors bathed in icy rivers after battle to wash away exhaustion and fear. Today, it's more social on weekends. You'll see friends gathering by fjords near Oslo or Tromsø, laughing as they take turns diving into the water before sprinting back into a sauna. And there's science behind it. Cold water immersion has been linked to improved circulation, stronger immunity, better mood, and reduced symptoms of depression. Maybe that helps explain why Norwegians consistently rank among the happiest people in the world, even with months of darkness each year. But the ritual doesn't end there. Right after the ice bath comes the sauna or badstue, a national sanctuary of heat, wood, and quiet. Temperatures reach up to 90 degrees Celsius, 194 degrees Fahrenheit, and everyone, yes, Everyone sits naked together on the wooden benches. Before I reveal the shocking secret, you should know this Norwegian women are tall, strong, and astonishingly natural fair skin, bright eyes, minimal makeup, and hair that seems to catch the northern sunlight itself. In fact, Norway has one of the lowest cosmetic surgery rates in all of Europe. A true reflection of how confidence and natural grace define what it means to be beautiful here. And maybe that's why Norwegians are also so comfortable in their own skin. Inside, everyone sits naked, sometimes mixed gender, but it's not awkward here. The body isn't treated as something sexualized, just something natural. And if you prefer privacy, many saunas offer designated hours for men-only or women-only sessions. There are saunas in homes' gyms and mountain cabins, even floating ones along Oslo's fjord, where people alternate between steaming heat and icy dips in the sea. Before entering, guests always shower to rinse off any lotions or oils. And once inside, the unspoken rule is silence. Just breathing, heat, and stillness. Some follow the 10-2-10 rule. 10 minutes in the sauna, 2 in the cold. 10 to rest, repeated in cycles, until the body feels light and alive again. So next time you're in Norway and someone invites you to a sauna by the lake, leave your hesitation and your clothes at the door, because here, being naked isn't about exposure. It's about returning to nature itself. Number 7. Rich, electric, and surprisingly strict. Few countries create contradictions as well as Norway. This is a nation that built much of its enormous wealth on oil and gas, yet somehow became one of the strongest symbols of the electric car revolution. Petroleum helped make Norway rich, but on the streets, gasoline cars now feel like yesterday's technology. By 2025, electric vehicles had already come to dominate new passenger car sales so completely that Norway looked less like a country adapting to the future and more like one already living in it. But that same country can still feel surprisingly strict in everyday life. If you want strong alcohol in Norway, you cannot just walk into any supermarket and grab a bottle like it is an ordinary grocery item. Anything above 4.7% alcohol is sold through Vinmonopolet, the state-run alcohol monopoly, which means buying wine or spirits often requires a separate stop at a government store. And that is what makes Norway so interesting. It is wealthy, digital, and futuristic, yet still willing to keep old-fashioned controls when it believes they protect society. In other words, Norway may trust you with an electric car, but it is still not ready to trust you with liquor in aisle 5. Norway is not just a country of stunning landscapes. It is also a land filled with traces of trolls from ancient legend. Number 8. Land of the Trolls. If Norway sometimes feels like it was designed by myth instead of geology, that is because trolls are everywhere in its landscape, not as creatures you can see, but as names stamped onto some of the country's most dramatic places. And the strangest part is that once you hear the stories, the scenery starts to look like legend too. Take Trolltunga, or the Troll's Tongue, one of the most famous rock formations in the country. It sits about 1,180 meters above sea level and roughly 700 meters above Lake Ringedalsvatnet, hanging out over empty space like a stone diving board built for giants. Getting there is not easy either, because the classic hike from Skjeggedal is about 27 kilometers round trip, which means the view has to earn your respect before it gives you anything back. Then there is Trollstigen, often translated as the Troll's Road, a mountain road famous for its 11 sharp hairpin bends as it climbs toward the high plateau. It is one of those places that already looks dangerous enough without folklore, and yet the local imagination made it even stranger by filling the area with trolls said to live in the mountains around it. So you are not just driving a spectacular road here, you are driving through a landscape that people long ago decided was too wild to belong entirely to humans. And if that still is not enough, Trollveggen, the troll wall, may be the most intimidating of them all. Rising about 1,000 meters, it is widely described as Europe's tallest vertical overhanging rock face, and according to local legend, the jagged rocks at the top are trolls that were turned to stone when sunlight hit them. That is what makes this part of Norway so unforgettable. Even the mountains feel like they come with a warning, as if nature here was so brutal, so strange, and so oversized that people needed monsters just to explain it. Number 9. The Arctic Islands that look impossible. A much more accessible Arctic world than Svalbard is the Lofoten Archipelago, a chain of islands above the Arctic Circle in northern mainland Norway, where giant mountains rise straight out of the sea. Fishing villages sit beneath razor-sharp peaks, and white beaches somehow exist in a place this far north. What makes Lofoten even stranger is that the climate is far milder than most people expect at this latitude. Thanks to the warm waters of the Gulf Stream, with winter temperatures often hovering around 28 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and summer temperatures around 54 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit, which is exactly why this place feels like the Arctic with a glitch in the system. The postcard star of Lofoten is Reine, the tiny fishing village on Moskenesøya that looks like someone designed it purely to make the rest of the world jealous, with steep mountains, clear water, and those famous red cabins sitting right at the edge of the sea. Then there is Henningsvær, often nicknamed the Venice of Lofoten, where fishing art and tourism all mix together, and where the football field has become one of the most visually surreal stadiums on Earth, surrounded by ocean rocky islets and cod-drying racks. Those red cabins you see across Lofoten are called Rorbu, traditional fishermen's cabins that were once working shelters and are now often turned into tourist stays. Many are red, some are yellow or white, and historically the colors even reflected cost, with red being the cheapest and white the most expensive. And Lofoten still has quieter corners. One of the most unusual is the village of Lofoten. Yes, just a place whose name comes from an Old Norse word for a small river or stream. It was once a small fishing village centered on stockfish, but since the 1990s, tourism has taken over as the main economic force. Beyond the villages, some of Norway's most beautiful beaches are here too, from Kvalvika to Skogsanden, with its strange sand patterns, and Haukeland, with its clear water and popularity among surfers. In winter, these beaches can become northern lights viewing spots, and in summer, they sit under the midnight sun. And then there is one last twist hidden offshore near Rust. Beneath the cold water lies Rustravet, the world's largest known cold water coral reef, stretching roughly 35 to 45 kilometers and covering more than 100 square kilometers. Few places on Earth can give you red fishing cabins, Arctic light, white beaches, and one of the world's largest cold water coral reefs, all in the same landscape, which is exactly why Lofoten feels less like a normal destination and more like Norway showing off. Number 10. Freedom in nature distance in daily life. One of the most revealing things about Norway is that the country can feel incredibly open and incredibly reserved at the same time. On one hand, there is allemannsretten, the traditional right to roam, which gives people remarkable freedom in nature. In simple terms, you can hike, ski, and even camp on uncultivated land without asking permission, as long as you stay at least 150 meters from the nearest inhabited house or cabin, and usually no more than 2 nights in the same spot, unless the landowner says yes. That rule says a lot about Norway. Nature is not treated like something to stare at from far away, but something ordinary people are trusted to enter, enjoy, and respect. But that same respect shows up in a very different way once you return to everyday life. Norwegians are often known for giving each other a lot of personal space, and visitors notice it quickly in small moments, that never appear in travel ads, like people spreading out at a bus stop, even when they are all waiting for the same bus, or choosing a seat farther away on public transport if other spaces are available. Compared with the more touch-heavy, close-contact style, common in parts of Southern Europe, Latin America, or much of Asia, social distance in Norway can feel almost like an unwritten rule. And that is what makes this country so interesting. In the wild, the land is open to everyone. But in daily life, people still quietly protect the invisible borders around themselves. Number 11. The whale hunt that never really ended. For many people, Norway feels modern, peaceful, and environmentally aware, which is exactly why this next fact catches so many outsiders off guard. Whale hunting still exists here. In recent years, Norway, Japan, and Iceland have remained the main countries still associated with commercial whaling, and Norway has continued to set large annual quotas for minke whales. The species, it hunts commercially. In 2026, campaigners reported that Norway's quota was 1,641 minke whales, while Reuters reported that Iceland had still issued a 2024 license for 128 fin whales, rather than ending the practice altogether, and Japan has continued expanding its own commercial whaling program since leaving the International Whaling Commission. In Norway, the hunt is usually defended as both traditional and sustainable. The animal most commonly hunted is the minke whale, which can reach around 18 feet in length, and Norwegian government documents say the Northeast Atlantic minke whale population has been stable. That helps explain why the authorities continue to support the hunt, presenting it as a managed use of marine resources rather than a threat to the species. The broader historical roots go back a long way as well, with whale use in northern Norway stretching deep into the past, although modern commercial whaling is obviously very different from anything the Vikings would have recognized. But this is also where the story turns controversial. Anti-whaling groups argue that the hunt is no longer necessary, especially when demand for whale meat is limited, and modern economies no longer depend on it for survival. Some conservation voices add another layer to the debate by pointing to the ecological role of whales themselves. Large whales help move nutrients through the ocean, which can support phytoplankton growth, and phytoplankton in turn absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. And that is what makes Norway so fascinating. If you have made it all the way to this moment, thank you so much for staying with us on this journey through one of the most unusual countries in the world. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay with the channel, because there are still many more surprising places on this planet waiting to be explored.